welcome to my channel. My name is Jade and I help people heal and reclaim their power physically, spiritually, and in this case, sexually. So why did I give up my vibrators? Now, disclaimer, this video is not going to say that you must never use a vibrator ever again. So be rest assured, ladies. However, it is pointing out the kind of dark side of vibrators and what you actually should, take into account of when using one. As many women are not taught about this, because remember, vibrators and the sex toy industry is extremely profitable. So, they make probably trillions every year. So we need to realize that, of course, they're not going to tell you any sort of downside about vibrators. Now, when you use a vibrator, your brain is involved with creating an orgasm. Many people don't realize that. You have an orgasm, your brain is associated with it. So when you're getting stimulated and only orgasming most of your time using a vibrator, your brain will get very accustomed to that. So what this can cause in the future, if you use and rely only on a vibrator to make you orgasm, your brain and neurotransmitters are only going to ever basically tell your body that you can only have an orgasm through vibrating, stimulation on your clit. So this can be very problematic when you actually have sex with a, real human being. Or even trying to self-pleasure without a vibrator, just using your fingers, whatever, you won't feel pleasure. So basically, you won't be able to orgasm without a powerful vibrator. And this is another thing, is many vibrators can be very overstimulating. So a lot of the time they go really, intense and quite, strong. And then again, this makes your clitoris get numb and more numb over time. So the more you use a vibrator, the more and more desensitized and numb that your clitoris is going to become over years of using it too much. So in order to avoid this problem, what I would suggest, if you don't want to throw away a vibrator completely, is at least wean down on it. But even that isn't really enough, so you have to make sure it's like 50-50. So if you still want to use a vibrator, half of the time, orgasm with a vibrator, but the rest of the time, make sure you're using your own fingers if you're single. If you're in a relationship, make sure your partner is being, able to make you orgasm through oral, using their tongue or using their fingers or whatever. But it's really important to not just solely rely on a toy, on a vibrating object to make you orgasm. And this leads to another thing, is it's very limiting. I found with my own personal experience, when I first used a vibrator when I was probably really young, young teenage girl, it felt incredible. Like, it was like, oh my God. And because my clitoris was so sensitive back then, I was able to orgasm like pretty much instantly. And this was the case for, a few years, but I found the more I used a vibrator, the more and more numb my clitoris started to get. So it became very almost tedious and boring, and to the point where I would orgasm, but it would be a very weak, sort of pathetic orgasm. Nowhere near as pleasurable as it was the first time I used it. And then I found myself seeking more and more powerful vibrators. I eventually got one of those massive wands, which is like, extremely intense, which I threw away years ago, despite the expensive price. And even that, it felt good, but it wasn't, nearly as pleasurable as, it used to be. And I remember before using vibrators, I could very easily orgasm just using my own fingers or whatever. And now I can't even do that. Like, even to this day, I struggle because of the years of numbing my clitoris. And I find loads of women do experience this. And it's a very horrible thing, actually, that the industry, of course, don't warn women about this. And it's almost like vibrators were only invented to kind of shut women up, because within our sex education and within our sexual society, it is very toxic. Men are not taught how to actually stimulate and fully make a woman feel pleasure in the bedroom. You know, they learn from porn, which is a complete opposite. And most of the things that we see in porn are not even pleasurable for a woman to experience in real life. Pretty much all of it, to be fair. I did make a video on why porn is so toxic, so check that out if you want. But with vibrators, that was the kind of key thing that really made me think, wait a minute, this is not right. I am now feeling extremely detached from my body. I'm feeling more and more disconnected during sex with an actual human being. And it became like, for years, I couldn't have an orgasm with any man. And I heavily do blame the vibrator, not just the man, but also the vibrator. So it's very important to realize that it will happen. Like, if you keep using a vibrator and you get addicted to it, which is very easy to get addicted to, that obviously addictive, pleasurable, quick pleasure. Vibrators are like what porn is for men, with women. So you need to really be accountable and listen to your body and realize that long term they're not beneficial for just a very, quick few seconds of pleasure. A woman can actually orgasm through 7 different spots on her body. Like, we are built for tantric sex, and tantric sex is incredible. And I am having to heal my body to kind of get tapped into all those sort of zones, at the present moment. But for many years I was just numb, because I was having shitty sex, from men who just watch porn and don't know a thing of how to actually make a woman, feel pleasure. And I was using sex toys, and I got so bored of sex. Vibrators will ultimately lead you to being bored and not even wanting sex. It will make you lose your sex drive, because when you do have sex with a man, it just won't feel pleasurable anymore because your body's so numb. And then this can either go 2 ways. It can either go like, oh, I need to try more extreme things, which is what I did. And it led me down the road of BDSM and going to even sex parties, etc., which I highly don't recommend. Or it can lead you to just having no sex drive whatsoever, and then just completely disconnect from your sex drive. And we need to remember that sexual energy is not dirty, it's not shameful. When it's healthy and beneficial to you, pure, genuine sexual energy is so healing and powerful. And you can transmute that energy into your hearts and your third eye. It's a very spiritual, powerful thing. And because it's creative energy, you can create so much with your sexual energy. And I've noticed because eventually I then lost my sex drive for a few years, which I'm recovering from now. And when you lose your sex drive, it's so hard to be creative and to create things. It's like it makes you feel numb and dead inside. So it's very important to have that healthy balance and a real healthy relationship with sex. So it's important to realize, sex is about actually connecting to another human being. So if you're just relying on connection, having a love affair with a vibrator, which is literally what a vibrating little object, like, that's quite sad. You're literally in a love affair with a robot almost. So we need to really learn how to integrate and learn how to connect to our bodies better and our sexual partners. And even if you're single, like, try doing a yoni massage on yourself. Just use some oil, coconut oil, that's safe to use on your yoni, on your vagina, and just give yourself a really slow, massage to really feel. And I know at first it can be frustrating because you don't feel anything, and then you get bored and just want to reach for your vibrator. But that's where you have to have that inner self-discipline, because if you just keep reaching for the vibrator and not learning how to tap into your sensations in your body, then it's just going to get worse. Trust me, I've been there, and now I have to now heal the damage that unfortunately, vibrators and toxic sexual relationships I had have caused in my body. So this is all about reclaiming your sexual goddess, priestess power back as well. You know, remember the vibrators were, they come across as they're invented by women, but they weren't. It's kind of like a scapegoat for men to use, so women can just shut up and, oh, here you go, here's your little orgasm, so I don't have to do it because you're so complicated. It's like, you know, it makes men more lazy. And it's so sad because we need, you know, the divine feminine and masculine to really integrate back together, to really reconnect in the bedroom. And sexual energy and relationships is the key to really healing society, you know, believe it or not, because sex plays such a huge role in our whole world with every single being. And to really heal the damage that has been caused between men and women, you know, we need to bond again. We need to learn each other's bodies and be vulnerable. And, you know, a lot of the time a woman can't orgasm because she doesn't feel safe to do so. You know, your body is not stupid. Your body will always do things, you know, subconsciously. And if you don't open yourself to your partner and you don't feel relaxed and you don't have a healthy amount of self-love and self-esteem and confidence, it will be extremely difficult for your body to orgasm because it has to feel safe, and you have to be safe with your partner. So ladies, don't be afraid to speak up to your boyfriends, to your partners, or to your girlfriends if you're bisexual or a lesbian, etc. Because it's so important to do so. Don't just rely on quick fixes, because in the long term they will no longer be a quick fix. They will just be the thing that killed your sex life. So it's really important to realize this and cut back. If you feel like, oh, I can't go without, or question, why can't you go without? That seems a lot like an addiction. Why are you so addicted to your vibrator? You know, why are you not allowing yourself to open up to your partner, to your man, or even to yourself if you're single? Because even masturbating on your own for a woman is a very vulnerable thing, and it can feel very uncomfortable and shameful at times. And that's another thing that holds women back so much from orgasm is shame, sexual shame, slut shaming, which we have endured for so many years, for centuries. So it's really understanding why you're doing this, question why you're addicted to, you know, anything, and know the consequences that you're setting up, you know, with using a vibrator too much, and let go. Like, try and do it for a month and then continue it on. You know, just learn to feel yourself again, like, because the vagina, your yoni, has so many different senses. It's not just the clitoris. You have the legs of the clitoris, which are so pleasurable, which is the either sides. You know, if you massage them, a good tip for men, if you're licking a woman out, massage the sides of her yoni as well. But do this on yourself, obviously, through massage if you're single. You know, the top of your vagina is so sensitive, you know, just above the clitoris. And even the below it, you know, and you have so many spots all over your body, even your neck, your inner elbow, your inner thighs, etc., stomach. So you need to tap into all these spots on your body, and that's what will really like reconnect you and ground you back into that feeling and sensation, and actually enjoy sex again. Because this, you know, too many vibrators and sex toys is just disconnection, and it takes you away from what real pleasurable actual sex is about. You know, and men have a huge part to play in this. You know, they really, I'll be talking about this in the future much more, because men unfortunately just don't have a clue when it comes to sex, most mainstream men. And it's not their fault, it's just they have been taught wrong, and they go by watching porn, which is a complete opposite and toxic way of looking at sex and how to actually please a woman. You know, things are a lot slower. Women have to take time, sometimes 40 minutes to get actually aroused and want a penis inside her. Because if you go too quick, then a woman will just draw back and she'll go all tense and it's impossible for her to orgasm. So stick with, you know, try to less of a vibrator, more hands, more tongue, or get crystal dildos. Like, they can be very healing. You can get special crystal like rose quartz dildos that you can stimulate your G-spot with. You know, more sort of sacred, healthy sex toys, not so much vibrating ones. And if you really can't just go cold turkey and quit, then just make it less and try and wean off it, or make it 50-50. You know, don't rely on only being able to orgasm with a vibrator. That's where the problem massively lies. Hope this video helps you. Lots and lots of love and light to you. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any more videos, and follow me on Instagram for more daily content that I post on there. Lots of love. Ahimsa.